briefly. Well, one, I
But the point is, like, I think that
I wanted to briefly cover the fucking Chapo Trap House Ethan Klein mention, which I thought was very funny. Here it is. Here is Will Menaker, Felix Biederman, and Matt Lieb, and Daniel Mate discussing Ethan Crashout Klein.
that like the flailing and the sort of cruelty of the Zionist project in this country, and how quickly like both parties and like our entire government is like getting on board with just trashing all of our civil liberties and constitutional freedoms in service of protecting the reputation of this fucking pariah state that nobody wants anything to do with. I saw something Ali Abunimah posted the other day about how difficult it is getting for Israel to get anyone born in the West to make Aliyah to Israel. Like anyone educated, like, because like the only people who move to Israel are from like former Soviet states, and they don't want
And they also have brain drain that they're experiencing as well. A lot of people are leaving Israel as well, which will, as I've said before, it's Israel's biggest fear. Okay, Israel's biggest fear is not Hamas. Israel's biggest fear is not Iran. Israel's biggest fear, what do I always say, is fucking Boca Raton, Long Island, Brooklyn, and West Hollywood, Beverly Hills. Okay. Sherman Oaks. That's the biggest fear. If you can, why the fuck would you live in Israel, dude? What, like, literally, why would you ever live in Israel if you can just easily be like, yeah, no, I don't want to live here anymore. This is crazy. I don't want to fucking live with. There's like missile sirens happening all the time. So once that security boundary was penetrated overwhelmingly by both Iran and even by fucking the Houthis, okay, it's Jover. Is Jover. All of the squishy libs that comprise the academia in Israel that have maybe liberal Zionist tendencies are going to be like, okay, well, you know, everyone fucking sees Israel as this pariah state. People don't want to collaborate with me anymore. There's like genuine bigotry that I'm facing because people associate me with the violence that the state is doing. Okay. And maybe you were on board with it. Maybe you weren't. It doesn't fucking matter. The outcome is still the same. You're going to be like, yeah, I'm out. I'm done. I'm done. When that brain drain happens and people start leaving, all of a sudden, you don't have the cool bells and whistles that you can point to say we're the most moral democracy. We're so liberal. Because now the entire fucking country is run by a bunch of ultra-Orthodox Jews that are amongst themselves fighting about whether women should be able to learn to read or not. Or the other half is saying only women should work as opposed to the men who will do religious studies instead. That's no longer the beautiful liberal utopia in the middle of the fucking desert surrounded by these scary barbarians. All of a sudden, it looks a lot like, you know, Israel is the scary barbarians to the liberal world. Right? This is a major problem. What are you even talking about? What happens in Muslim countries in Middle East? You are delusional. What? This is not even an argument about what's going on in Israel. I'm talking about the internal dynamics within Israel. And you're over here being like, but what about the Middle East? All the other countries around it. It's like, what are they doing? Oh, well, they're getting bombed by Israel. Some of them, a lot of them. I'm talking about women's rights, etc. You refer to. I just talked about how Israel is going to turn into a fundamentalist shithole, which it already is in some respects, but it's going to further erode. And this dumb fuck is like, well, what about all the other countries that are already fundamentalists? Like, what do you mean? You talking about Lebanon? Is that the fundamentalist shithole? You talking about Syria, the fundamentalist shithole? You talking about Turkey, the fundamentalist Islamist shithole? Is that what you're going to say? Or are you talking about Israel's greatest allies in the region, the Gulf states? Oh, that's right. You don't care about the Gulf states and the actual the, the actual issues that persist in terms of women's rights, Palestine women's rights, then, first of all, a nation that is occupied by an infinitely more powerful superpower is not going to have a lot of time for civil liberties. And yet, Palestinian women's rights, the fuck do you mean? What do you think is going on? What do you think is happening to women in Palestine in terms of women's rights? As far as women's rights goes in Palestine, the number one factor there is still Israel bombing every fucking maternal ward in the goddamn strip. That's a pretty bad thing. Don't you think? Don't you think that erodes Palestinian women's rights a little bit? But even outside of that, what do you think happens to the Palestinian women? You think like women are, Hamas owns Palestine's ass, not Israel. They run the inside show. Okay. Got it. Okay. Hamas runs Palestine. Okay. Hamas runs the Gaza Strip. This is true. What are they doing in terms of women's rights? Is Israel saving women by killing them? 73% of the last round of bombing since the ceasefire ended is women, children, and the elderly. Did Israel liberate them from the treacherous grip of Hamas by liberating them from their fucking bodies, liberating their souls from their bodies? Is that what you're saying? Is that what we're talking about? Hamas is exactly what you accuse Israel of doing? Wait, really? Dude, holy shit. I had no fucking idea that Hamas had F-15 fighter jets that they were constantly fucking pummeling Israel with. I didn't realize that Hamas actually had the entirety of the Israeli registry, okay? And they knew exactly where every Israeli lived, and they were using that and their superior firepower to destroy Tel Aviv right now. Oh my God. I didn't realize that Hamas controlled all borders of Israel. I didn't realize that Hamas was in real time mass kidnapping Israelis and putting them through military detention and then raping them to death in their prison system. That's right. That's what Israel says Hamas is doing, which there's no evidence for, but Israel has certainly been doing that to the fucking Palestinians. There are 49 pages of evidence for that. The only thing Israel has is projection. You don't know anything. Yeah. Hamas controls all the checkpoints in Tel Aviv and has enforced a rigid structure of apartheid upon the Israeli population where the Palestinian, the Muslim, and the Christian population of Israel get more rights than the Jewish population of Israel, famously. Yeah. By the way, about the sexual assault situation, one of the fucking freed hostages was raped by his personal fitness trainer. It is the most psychotic thing I've ever seen. Shocking. The raped woman in the Tel Aviv fitness trainer affair. A kidnapped woman who returned from captivity. First publication in Daniel Amram without censorship. It now turns out that not only is this a well-known fitness trainer who's promoted by all the celebrities, but the alleged rapist who filed a police complaint against him is a kidnapped woman who returned from Hamas captivity, yes, and according to her claim, he drugged her and committed severe rape. She told several of her friends about the incident and complained to the police, but refuses to talk about the issue. Oof, I can't with you lefties. I'm out. What do you mean lefties? What the fuck what is this about? Dude, are you admitting that the anti-rape position is inherently a leftist position and saying that that is somehow a wrong position to have? What the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah, I mean, get the fuck out of here if this is your perspective. I guess you're waving the fucking white flag there, aren't you? Wow, I can't believe you would talk about the mass rapes that Israel is doing to the fucking Palestinians, which there's an endless sea of evidence for. Oh, man. Anyway, let's get back to this shit of Chapo ripping into Ethan.
But like they're experiencing a huge brain drain, and they're not meeting their quotas because of how rotten and evil their fucking country is. That the fact that nobody wants to live there.
And it also just sucks to live there.
Yes,
like that is like, you know, Ethan Klein, before he became what he is now, when he had to live in Israel to like marry the first girl who ever touched him, he would constantly complain about how much it sucked and how excited he was to leave.
Matt, I know he's got smoke with you. Felix, I know you're aware of him, but I just got to ask, who the fuck is Ethan Klein?
Ethan Klein is
a famous.
He's a famous YouTuber. He actually, do you know the Bolt guy?
For what? What did he do on YouTube?
Well, okay. So he's kind of the reason. He's kind of the reason that like fair use as a concept exists on YouTube, because him and his wife like made these videos making fun of this guy, the Bolt guy, who Michael Hudson originally showed me.
Dude, remember when Felix and I were watching The Bold Guy, by the way, and we realized that he's the most vindicated man on earth?
Made these hilarious skits that were like a mix of parkour and pickup artistry.
I remember The Bold Guy.
Yeah,
the Bold Guy's awesome. I love The Bold Guy.
And history has vindicated him.
Yeah.
Someone in the comments said Ethan Klein is Israel's wife guy.
Also, like, it works to like go up to a girl and be like, think you could catch me? Like, I've put up Will Chamberlain numbers doing that. And second, you know, he's a way better person than Ethan Klein, it turns out. But they have a really popular YouTube channel, and they would do like, you know, like skits and like news commentary. It was a little more elevated than what you saw on YouTube at the time, which was mostly like, you know, using a Ouija board to contact my dead girlfriend, kidnapping my friend prank. And he was sort of like a vaguely left liberal guy, if they talked about politics at all. He had sort of a reckoning with his quote unquote like edgelord past. Though I do think people did show me a bunch of videos of him like saying the N-word also.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't, you know,
he did
maybe it was, but
he did like 30 minutes just on me on his show like a couple weeks ago, to, you know, just trying to get me fired from a job, trying to call me a token Jew. And I was like, damn, he did 30 minutes on that. And then someone sent me his N-word compilation, and it was longer than that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm good. I don't think
there's a video like,
dude, also trying to get you fired from your job is such a funny fucking pro-Israel position. Always. Like, literally, this method is undefeated and so goddamn consistent. And it's hilarious because it's the most fucking annoying thing you can try and do. It's literally the entire existence of the Canary mission. It is the entire existence for the ADL. It is the entire existence for any number of these different, like, it's Barry Weiss does it all the fucking time. Like, it's just, I'm going to call someone who has power over you, and I'm going to try to get you fired. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to understand your position. I don't want to see if what your position is like, if there's any veracity to it or not. I'm just going to get you fucking fired. It is such loser shit. It is such unimaginable loser shit, and everybody fucking hates it. Everybody hates it. And it's the number one. Now, before Beitar and all, Beitar, which is a fucking terror cell, by the way, like literally a terror cell, okay, operating as a 501c3 under U.S. boundaries, but, you know, that's besides the point. Or fucking Canary Mission and the ADL started working with the Department of Homeland Security to do the ultimate calling the fucking manager move, which is to get the Department of Homeland Security to fucking black bag you in the middle of the goddamn street with plainclothes officers for the crime of saying Israel is mean, okay? Or even at any given point, if you were around a fucking anti-Israel protest, then God forbid, holy shit, and deporting people, this is what they used to do. This was the number one move. The number one trick is just like doxing and then fucking freaking out. Wait, what is this? They call Israel a shitty place to live. Matt Lieb and Chapo Trap House, Hassan's friends Felix's group, team up to attack Ethan and Gila. They call Israel a shitty place. Really hateful, bigoted stuff. Yeah. I think foot soldiers should listen to Ethan from when he lived in Israel and how he said infinitely worse things than these guys have ever said about Israel or about Jews, really. Holy fuck. Especially Orthodox Jews. Jesus Christ.
Like, I am like usually against, like just taking like a clip and being like,
oh, sure.
For the most part. But there was one clip I saw where he's watching a video about like a girl who got her leg blown off.
Oh, the Boston bombing thing. Yeah.
And he's like, her pussy's got to be bigger for an N-word like me. And it's like, what the fuck is it? What were you doing? It is.
That's a real Ethan Klein clip that I have not shown on this broadcast.
I don't know. He had an interesting theory of how to make content.
Yeah.
Like he had a reckoning where he was like, "I'm sorry for my edgelord past." He had a podcast.
That's why I was shocked. Yeah, the Boston Marathon bombing victim was like literally underage too, I think. But that's why I was shocked when he went after Matt Lieb. Ethan did, because like Ethan, up until that point, I feel like had only rarely ever called like anti-Zionist Jews capos or whatever, or like token Jews or whatever. But like every single time there was a fucking clip that circulated on the H3H3 broadcast, Felix or Noah was sitting right next to me, and he suspiciously would never say anything about them. Okay? He would never say anything. Felix would say unspeakable things that at the time I would never say. Okay? And he would just not refer to them at all. Okay? That's the fucking guy? What do you mean? That's the guy? That's the fucking guy? And until Matt Lieb, who was on the broadcast here, on the podcast, I don't think that he ever went like super hard after anti-Zionist Jews. I don't know if it's because... I don't know if that is because Felix is not fireable. Because in the same vein, like, I'm not necessarily fireable either. Which is why he couldn't go after my sponsors, because I don't have any sponsors. So he tried to go after the entire platform by just saying, like, Twitch is the most anti-Semitic platform. Well, guess what, dude? Twitch recently unbanned a formerly banned Jewish content creator, proving once again that it is clearly not an anti-Semitic platform. So there's no reason to worry, okay? Twitch is taking the initiative. Twitch has heard your criticisms. And in the interest of making sure, in the interest of conceding to the ADL, Twitch has unbanned a Jewish content creator who was formerly banned.
Yes, with Hasan.
Yeah.
And then there was a falling out because Ethan was like, he was one of these like, I hate Netanyahu and I hate the occupation.
Right.
But we have to not demonize people, guys. And now he's like Ross Glick now. He's just like
I want, more than anything else, a conversation between Ethan and Felix so bad. I know it'll never happen, but oh my God. I want that so badly. Felix also happens to be like, I mean, this was his words, not mine, undeniably Jewish. So it's not like he can present him as like a scary Arab Muslim terrorist guy either. You know what I mean? Even with Matt's like 6'7". You know what I mean? You could be like, he's Ukrainian or something. I don't fucking know. But with someone like Felix or Brace, you can't even do that. No one is going to believe you.
pretense has gone away.
It's crazy. Go ahead.
But he is like an incredibly, before this, he was like an incredibly foundational and like very popular YouTube figure. And one of the most well remunerated. His wife, who is the one who's like, she's always like frowning and dressed like Pootie Tang on their show. they made this clothing brand called Teddy Fresh, and their logo is like, like a teddy bear that's cool. And they made like tens of millions of dollars through all this, which makes all of this so funny. He's been having like a year-long panic attack over like Hasan and now Matt, and he's posting.
He doesn't have any conversations he can't come out on top of. That's why he wants to bait you to do his dumbass podcast with him again. Wait, what? I would go on. What are you talking about? I would go on Ethan's podcast. Are you fucking kidding me? He doesn't want that smoke either. He is not going to ever have a conversation that he cannot completely control and manipulate. Are you out of your mind? I've been asking since the fucking context puke. I've been like, hey man, I'll come on the stream. I'll watch it with you. If you really want me to watch the video, I'll watch it with you. There you go. You can ambush me in real time with the damning accusations. He will never let that happen. He is too chicken shit.
To his stories on Adderall like 40 times a day. I got posted on there once.
Look at the shirt.
I wanted.
Look at the shirt I was wearing when I met Felix. It's just two Turks, dude. Two clearly Turkish men right here. Two handsome Turks.
To tell him that I've like lost a lot of weight since then, and I was abnormally fat that year, and I want to do reshoots of that.
Dude, yeah, he fucking. On the stream where he like did 30 minutes just on me, they put me on the thumbnail, and it was like a headshot picture. And they like maybe an hour before the stream started, they changed the picture to something less hot. And I realized that like, oh, this is like they're so petty that they didn't want me to look too hot in the thumbnail. And every time, like, this guy is like obsessed with Hasan in a way that I
said, like all I see from him is him whining about Hasan or his live-in nanny.
One of my favorite like psychotic, just like your kids haven't had dinner story posts I saw from him. It was like a screen cap from a video of Hasan where he's like in a bathtub, and it's like he's like
nanny.
Oh, you know what? His glasses are fake. They have prescriptions in them. he's like Mr. Skin for Hasan.
Yeah.
There's so many like near nude videos of Hasan that I would have never seen before if not for Ethan. And he's like, look how stupid his cock looks in this.
Yeah, he wanted to be Mr. Hands for Hasan, but he ended up being Mr. Skin. So I only kind of became aware of him after October 7th when he I had like kind of seen the face before. But I didn't really know who he was, and I knew he had this.
We've met before, haven't we?
As a matter of fact, I'm there right now.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing about him and I is that we both went to UC Santa Cruz at the same time.
Yeah, this was shocking. This is a shocking revelation that like Matt and Ethan lived such similar lifestyles with like one major difference.
We're both the same age. And like we're kind of just like I'm just a version of him if he had not married an Israeli. I think like I think we were on a birthright at the same time. So yeah, like he's just this guy who after October 7th, after he started like beefing with Hasan, he the only reason I started covering him was because he kind of dedicated his show to doing Israeli propaganda. And one of the big things that he did was he got Twitch to change the terms of service so that Zionism or saying Zionist is a slur. And, for me, this is something we cover a lot on Bad Hasbara is, people using the like institutional muscle of the ADL in order to, stop people from being able to express their free speech about Zionism, which is not a slur. It is a concept that is a belief structure that people do believe in and has political and real life consequences.
And they proudly claim.
Yes, and people, proudly are proud Zionists. So it's fucking ridiculous. And so I started interviewing people who he had actively been targeting. And
it's so funny where these guys here, every single person in this conversation is Jewish, by the way. Will Miniker, Felix Biederman, Matt Lieb, and Daniel Mate as well. Daniel's father is Gabor Mate, for those of you who don't know, and his brother is Aaron Mate. Anyway, and it's really funny because Will is either Will is no. Will is, stop saying Will isn't Jewish, chat. No, I think either his adopted family is Jewish or he's ethnically Jewish. He's not religiously Jewish. Or I think Will's dad is Jewish. Will's adopted father is Jewish. Shut the fuck up. Why are you trying to correct me, you parasocial fucking losers? Who said he's just from New York? Oh, man. Anyway. In any case, because he tweeted about it yesterday. Oh, is that why he tweeted about it? Well, in any case, listen. Okay, sure, he's half Jewish. Whatever. It doesn't matter. While they're having this conversation about stop being afraid of your chat. Yeah, I famously am terrified of my chat. That's why I always famously yell at them all the fucking time when they're being dumbasses. And then people clip it and go, Hasan is so mean to his chat. Which one is it? Am I terrified of my chat? Or am I fucking too angry at my chat all the time? Dumb fuck. Also, you're in the chat, which should cause you to understand that perhaps anyone and everyone can be in this chat, usually. Regardless of whether they're fans of mine or not, because, you know, unlike many others, I still allow dissent. Next time you should shake them. True. So the thing that I wanted to say is this conversation has taken place amongst 3 Jewish people and 1 half Jewish person. How about that? For the sake of full-blown clarity here, is actually about Ethan Klein doing Hasbara. And there are still chatters in here that are trying to be like, well, Hamas is still disgusting. It's like, this isn't about Hamas, okay? This is not about Hamas. You don't have to always say, but October 7 or but Hamas every single time. It's not going to work. It's not working in this situation. Let me tell you.
That, I think, is what pissed him off. I interviewed Frogan, who's a streamer who he had banned from Twitch. This guy, Anthony, who was on this, does a podcast called Do Not Worry, which is, he's essentially a former Ethan fan who's watched, it's a podcast from Lebanon, where he, talks about, Zionism and talks about what's going on, with Israel's bombardment of Lebanon. And I had Hasan on, I had this guy Bad Empanada on, and I think that just drove him over the edge because Bad Empanada is just like kind of an internet troll who doesn't give a fuck. And like, he just, that
guy goes hard.
He goes real hard. He really, truly doesn't give a shit. And we had a great conversation with him, not about Ethan. We talked.
He hates me as well, for the record.
Talked about Zionism and stuff, and that really pissed him off because I think with Ethan, the big thing is that liberal Zionists are fundamentally insecure, and their entire belief structure, everything that they believe in is centered around the fact that they are moral people, and so anyone claiming that any of their preconceived notions about Israel might be in fact wrong, like completely shatters their self-image, and so rather than having to like rebuild your own self-image or kind of like learn from anything, you just double down and turn into the most grotesque version of yourself. And so he's a weird guy, man. I think he really just wants to fuck Hasan, which is like, that's fine, man.
Fair.
That's fine. Fair. He's hot. Yeah. I mean, I get it, but it is really strange. He's been going after me for a bit now.
It's a weird pattern too, because like we've talked about the phenomenon of like, Michael Rappaport guys who it's been a rough past decade, 15 years.
Yeah.
You only see them when you look at their IMDb. It's like, movies that don't have a Wikipedia. Some like a Kevin Hart web series in 2012 called like I'm My Own Damn Husband, and they play a character called like Pervert Number 3. And so like there's an economy for guys like that where they can join some insane organization and they can post an interview and be like, Hollywood A-lister reveals anti-Semitism in Hollywood. But Ethan Klein made an incredibly good living. Ethan and he lived both. They were some of the most well-remunerated people ever on YouTube and still are. They were near the height of their powers. Like,
I wouldn't say they still are, but I think they were. And Ethan just like kind of fucking cast all of that aside, which is why whenever people go like, "Oh, is he being paid by Israel?" It's like, no, dog. Not only is he not, but also on top of that, he's expending social capital. He's expending like capital. He's just like dumping everything for the love of the game to be a real ass hater. He has lost his viewership. The remainder of his viewership are just like some of the biggest parasocial stands at this point that will go whichever way he goes. But the remainder of his community is all like drama slop, desperate drama slop opportunists who want to wield Ethan like a fucking weapon. And once it falls out of favor, they will drop him like a bad habit. It is crazy. It's crazy that he doesn't recognize it. The content nuke on Twitch is making him lose thousands of Twitch followers. Yeah, he's just like he's hemorrhaging fucking followers everywhere. So no, I think this is real. This is a real, genuine belief that he has because nobody has checked him. Like, or the people that are closest to him, I guess, are telling him like, keep going, you're doing great.
Maybe not as huge as they were in like 2016, as far as I understand, but like definitely not.
I don't think he listens to his staff either. I don't think he listens to anybody. I guess Hila's the only person he listens to,
Definitely not like Michael Rappaport territory. But ever since they've done this, I think it's just like too fucking weird for most of the people that watch.
Right.
I think most of the people who watch like just have no idea what any of this is about. I don't even think they like know where Israel is.
Right.
But they look at this guy who they thought of as like the funny Vape Nation guy, and his story looks like those people you have that like in your life that are always having mental breakdowns.
Yeah.
Where it just looks like ellipses at the top, 50 a day, complaining. Like, if you only knew who Ethan was, you would just be like, he sure hates this naked guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He keeps
the
calling
Michael
this naked guy
Rappaport
a Nazi.
Michael Rappaport thing makes total sense. Like, it's shocking if you're watching like someone who's being so callous about the death of like children, and obviously you're just like, whoa, that's fucking weird. But it makes sense if you consider how many times he posts a picture of a plane ticket to Israel and goes, I'm taking another plane ride. And it's just like, he's in it for the free plane ride. I get that. It's fun to travel and be put up in a hotel. But the Ethan thing is weird. It's so much more self-destructive. And it's like someone who I think, it's like when you value ego over your own well-being, which is, it's crazy. It just kind of,
speaking of ego, I have nothing to say about Ethan Klein because he did a whole 30-minute video on you. I'm sitting right there, right next to you on the video. Doesn't even fucking mention me. I mean, you know what? You come at the king, you best not miss. But if you do miss,
Right.
at least mention his second in command. At least mention
Right,
his,
yeah.
you know,
Oh
his
no,
viceroy.
no,
At least mention
You
his
should have
advisor.
taken a stray. I told him this. I was like, you should go after Daniel. You know, he's someone we could get deported together.
I got
Daniel,
it.
I know exactly how you feel because like during this, when I would go on Hasan, I was like, I thought of myself as the guy in the squadron with the M249,
Sure.
where it's like I'm going to stand out there, I'm going to take fire, you know, I'm going to draw fire to draw his aggro.
Right.
Because
It
you
didn't
know,
work.
I have so much experience being yelled at. Some would even say that I like it when it happens now.
Yeah.
And I said all this stuff, and I only got posted once. It just didn't work.
Yeah. So
I
disrespectful.
said all this like terrible stuff about him and continue to do so, but it doesn't work. He's like, fuck you. Who has more videos of Hasan taking a bath?
Well, I think Matt said this. He's fixated on whoever he thinks he can get fired from something.
Right. He
Exactly.
didn't start coming after me until he found out I have a job that he wants. And so like
Yeah. That's such a crazy dude. By the way, we're combating anti-Semitism by getting this Jewish man fired from his producer position is a crazy way to operate. Okay. Yeah. And as far as I understand, like, I think Rhett and Link understand the fucking optics of firing your Jewish producer for being an anti-Zionist looks like. They're not fucking insane. Like, that's so funny to be like, no, Rhett and Link, why don't you fire this guy immediately? Fire this Jew. He's bad. Like, they also support Palestine, by the way. And they're not, yeah, exactly. They're not fucking grotesque monsters who are going to be like, wow, you mean to tell me my anti-Zionist Jewish producer is an anti-Zionist? Well, news to me. Time to fire the guy. Crazy, dude.
like that I think pissed him off more than anything else. And he's like, oh, good, I can get someone fired. And that's kind of been his MO. I mean, it's funny the amount of excuses I think a lot of people might, not just Ethan, but like a lot of Zionists make for what is essentially just a campaign to try to disenfranchise or somehow punish people who are pro-Palestinian voices. Like it's at the end of the day, it's his entire MO. He can make up whatever bullshit reason as to why. I mean, he's like, you platformed the terrorists. I was like, bad empanada? He plays video games and talks about Zionism. But you know, it's just an excuse to deplatform people. The funny thing about Ethan is he keeps claiming he's pro-Palestine.
Yeah, no, he still
so
does
funny.
that.
It's so
I love
funny.
that.
He's always just like, I'm the most pro-Palestine person in the world. Anyways, next topic is going to be another goddamn pro-Palestine person who I think should be put straight to jail.
I mean,
that's
this
all he
is
does.
your point about like going after people who can get fired. This is giving me an amazing idea. I should just like go to like a sports authority or something and just like pick up some shifts.
Yes.
And then like make the same posts
Yeah.
that I make.
Yes. Yes.
And just like get fired from that one because it will like it will just take up their attention entirely. The act of getting me fired.
I'm doing
The Tim Pool of anti-Zionism is so funny. Yeah. He's the Tim Pool of being pro-Palestine. You know how Tim Pool always is like, oh, I'm a liberal, but I think Donald Trump is going to win every state, including states that don't even exist yet. That's Ethan Klein. I'm pro-Palestine, except almost every single piece of commentary that I have on Palestine is just either A, shitting on every other pro-Palestinian content creator for the way that they are defending Palestinian emancipation, or B, undermining Israel as small being, a moral democracy that's vibrant, constantly talking about how the attacks against Israel must stop. It's really fucked up. Or C, the new version of liberal Zionism he's adopted is like, well, there are some good Palestinians out there, the ones that are protesting Hamas. Well, guess what, Ethan? Israel's killing them too, okay? Turns out Israeli bombs don't make that distinction of whether or not you fucking like Hamas or not. They just kill you anyway.
With 60 posts in a row on my Instagram stories, adding Dick's Sporting Goods and sharing the posts with them.
That'll get their attention.
That was it.